Okay, group, we'll get started. Let's go seated. Legs crossed, one in front of the other. We're a light group today. Probably a little bit of the weather. Rain's countering the drought. Probably have a bit of lack of motivation to get out.
Probably that.
That's me. So good for you coming on a rainy night, and it's actually a good way to counter rain and gloominess anyway. So we'll go, hands to the lap, palms up. Go ahead and sit up just a little bit straighter, but not all rigid, not as tall as you can sit up. But you might rest the eyes or a light gaze just on something in front of you. Just starting to activate a little bit of focus. Focus on us. Go ahead and tune in. Scan the body. Find the storms, the showers. Brand new day, brand new body. Let's go ahead and shift that focus to the head space. All those things floating around in there. Just gonna kind of distance from those for a bit. Not forget about all the junk, but just stepping away for time to care for self. So every time that mind wanders, and it's gonna be distractions, open enrollment, just gonna bring the attention back to the breath, back to the body. Let's start to extend the spine just a little bit taller. Start to grow the breath right now from whatever it is. So longer spine, longer neck, shoulders pulling down and away from the ears, and bigger breaths. We're going to take the left hand, we're going to put it right behind that left hip, fingers wide, get a grip on that mat, keep that elbow soft. We're going to take the right hand to the outside of that left knee. Inhale, extending tall. Exhaling, twisting to the left. Only going to twist here as far as you can keep that spine nice and straight. Breath might be a little compromised, but just continue to grow it. Last big breath here. And let's gently unwind, bringing that left hand back around. Taking the right hand behind that hip. sure you still have that bit of a softness to that elbows. Last big breath on this side. And we're going to gently return to center. Not going to do a lot of these in this cross leg position today, but we're going to switch the cross in the legs briefly. Extending the fingertips right out front there. Keeping that spine nice and straight and the neck long. Exhaling, walking those fingers out. Pausing, reassessing. Checking in with those knees. Remember, anything shows up, grab those blocks. Pulling the crown of the head directly out of those sit bones. Just one more big breath here. And we're going to start to walk those hands back up. We're going to send them right behind. About mat width, fingers wide. Next, exhale, chest in the direction of the ceiling. Pulling the shoulders back, soft elbows. Ladies, give that tailbone a bit of a tuck there if that arch creeps in. Big breaths into the open chest. One more here. And we'll walk those hands back up. Let's send those legs out in front. Point and flex the toes. Maybe spreading them apart, wiggling them around. Let's go both hands, toes toward the ceiling. Let's go both hands right behind the hips. Inhaling, extending tall. Most of us are going to be right here or pretty close, but exhaling, maybe finding that hinge forward. Watch for those legs to shake. Bless you. Watch for the body to lock up or fight back. That jaw is tense. You'll want to relax it, scale back. Last big breath here. And then we'll bring that strong torso back up. We'll bring the soles of the feet together in front of us. My feet are about a foot and a half from my body. What's accessible here? Shins, ankles, feet. Inhale, extending, pulling the shoulders back, pulling the crown of the head out of the sit bones. Exhaling, hinging forward. Only hinging as far as possible with that straight spine. Might use the elbows to apply a little pressure. Try to pull the shoulders back. One more big breath here. And let's bring that strong torso back up. We're going to go ahead, actually, one more here. Let's go soles of the feet to the mat. We're going to rock back. We're going to pick the feet up from the mat as we extend our arms forward. Shoulders extending, fingers pulling directly out of them. Got your balance here. If you need a little more, you can start to straighten those legs. Try to straighten up that spine a bit. It's a lot of work just to keep that spine straight. not a competition. Always bring those feet down. One more big breath. And then we will actually bring them down. Transition to hands and knees. Y'all ever wonder what I catch up here? One is that every time I do it the same direction. Over time, that's repetitive. Kind of helps give those examples of just those small things we do repetitively that can cause those range of motion imbalances. But right here, shoulders stacked over soft elbows, over wrists, fingers wide, actively gripping, hips over the knees. We're going to pull the crown of the head forward. We're going to pull the sit bones back. Just breathing big right here. One more, sending that big breath right down that spine. Next, inhale, let's take the right hand. We're going to send those fingertips in the direction of the ceiling. And we're going to exhale, dropping that right arm, sweeping it beneath the left, and sending that shoulder in the direction of the floor. Inhale, assessing, exhaling, noticing what's going on in the body now. Need a little more, you can take that hand that's on the ground and you can just place it on the small of the back. I like to do a little tiny sway of the hips here. I can often find some of those imbalances right there. Last big breath. And we'll use the strength of that left hand to support back up. Squaring up once again, pausing for that really nice extension. Crown of head forward, shoulders, sit bones back. Next, inhale, left fingertips up in the direction of the sky. Exhale, sweeping that left arm beneath the right, sending that left shoulder in the direction of the floor. Need a little more, you can take that right hand to the small of the back. Breathing big in this twist here. Side note, twists are really good for digestion. Just one more big breath on this side. And then we'll use the strength of that right hand and arm to support back up. Once on all fours here, we're going to take the forearms down. Clasp the hands in front. Going to be two versions of this. One, you can keep the knees down. One, you can lift. But we're going to tuck the toes, walking the feet back. Looking for a tabletop here if you're in this forearm plank. Heels pulling toward the wall behind. Crown of the head pulling forward. Projecting out of those shoulders. Overdoers, you should come out just a little earlier than the rest. Trying to find an appropriate depth or edge. If you have your knees down, you could still pull the crown of the head forward toward the wall behind. Toward the wall in front. But But wherever you are here, let's go ahead and bring those knees down. And just find yourself supporting back up. Taking the knees wide. Big toes toward one another. Walking the hands forward. Just big breaths there. Try to relax those arms. Hit you with strength pretty quickly. Strengthening postures counter some of that gloominess. When we lose that motivation, do a plank, you'll get it back. When you're ready, go ahead and start to walk those hands back up. Still keeping that breath flowing. We're going to tuck the toes. We're going to send the hips in the direction of the ceiling. Chest is moving toward the front of the thighs. Back of the thighs toward the wall behind. Heels in the direction of the floor. Gaze between your feet. Go ahead and give a little pedal out there. Maybe lift one foot, then the other. And when you're ready, you could start to walk those feet in the direction of the hands. And then roll up one vertebrae at a time. We'll start right here, feet about hip width. Pick up the toes, get a little grip on the mat. Arms down by the sides. Soften the knees, tuck the tailbone. Check in one more time right here. Breath might be moving a little quickly from that plank. Let's take the hands up. Clasp. Palms in the direction of the ceiling. Tuck the tailbone again. Soften the knees again. Grip with the toes. This is one of my go-to postures. You'll pretty much get this one every class. It's just good stuff. We'll go ahead and we'll start to release those hands. We'll take them right behind, clasping right behind the hips, knuckles in the direction of the floor, crown of the head in the direction of the ceiling. Primary movement, shoulders back. Last big breath here. Go ahead and release those hands. Let's bring the feet together. Let's squeeze everything up the legs that we can here, trying to mash it all together. Hands to the front of the thighs. We're going to grow tall. We're going to exhale, hinging forward, sending those hips back toward that wall behind, pulling the crown of the head forward, finding that nice extension without rounding or folding. Grip with those toes. You're getting a little balancing work here too. Squeeze the legs together. Lots of instruction there. Next inhale, we'll inhale that strong torso back up. We're going to start to send the hips down and back as we reach forward with our arms. Take a peek down, make sure you can see those toes. fingertips pulling directly out of those sit bones. Keep those big breaths going here. Finding a place that's sustainable. Last big breath right here. We'll go ahead and straighten those legs back up. We'll bring the arms down by the sides. Take the feet about hip width apart. Let's pull those shoulders down and away from the ears here. Soften the knees. Grip with the toes. We're going to start to draw tiny circles on the ceiling with the crown of our head. Clicking, popping, grinding. Reduce the size of the circle. Find the extension in all of it. Soften the knees, soften the jaw. Let's reverse direction here. And then coming right back to center. We're going to do a balancing one. So just a couple steps back on your mat or just fine carpet. We've got some tonight. Find something to focus on. Remember, just a light gaze. If my foot comes down at points, I'm gonna keep it there since you're all facing me, instead of trying to fight it with everybody flailing. But knees are soft. Find that thing to focus on. Don't challenge yourself by closing the eyes yet. We're going to take a step forward with the right foot. We're going to grip with the toes, project out of that right hip. We're going to start to lift our left foot behind. We're going to reach for it. Reach for the top of the foot with that left hand. Start to bring that right arm forward, slowly sending that left knee back. Check in with the hip, check in with the knees. Just breathe big. She got me, she didn't get any of you. Well, one at the end. One more big breath here. And let's bring that knee back. Bringing that left foot down, right arm down, giving those hips a shake. That was impressive, FYI. I knew it was going to happen. People were going to be walking between you during the open enrollment. I knew it. Meaning I knew that you were going to balance. Soften the knees, regroup, brand new side, brand new body. When you're ready, we'll take a step forward with the left foot this time. Grip with the toes. Extend out of that left hip at all parts of the posture. Lifting that back foot, reaching for the top of it with that right hand. Finding a bit of steadiness. This is one of the more challenging ones. Maybe extending that left hand forward. Sending that right knee back. Project out of that hip. Soften that knee. Bring that breath back. Feel like I'm dueling floor. Last big breath. Bring it down. Good job bringing that down softly, giving those hips a shake even as I crash it. with another pass through. Let's take the feet a little bit wider. Length of the legs is going to kind of determine this. Tuck the tailbone, soften the knees. Left hand outside this left hip. Inhale, extending those right fingertips tall. Exhaling, leaning to the left. I'm going to reach toward where the ceiling and the wall meet. Keeping that side nice and long and straight, creating space there. Last big breath there. And let's bring that right arm back around. Let's inhale the left fingertips toward the ceiling. Check in with that tailbone. Exhale, leaning to the right. Noticing anything different side to side. Just breathing in at that first boundary. Last big breath. We'll bring that right arm back around. We'll go hands to the front of the thighs, growing tall, gripping with the toes. Exhaling, hinging forward again, pulling the sit bones back, pulling the crown of the head forward. Couple big breaths. If you see that you can reach the floor or your blocks, you might walk those hands forward. But if you do, you're going to pull those sit bones in the opposite direction. Just countering to keep that spine nice and straight if your hands are on the floor. One more big breath right here. And then walking them back up, back to the front of the legs if they're down, finding that extension one more time. And then supporting that strong spine right back up. We're going to heel toe our feet back. They're about hip width here. We're going to take the fingers, send them right behind the neck. Tuck the tailbone. Soften the knees. Next, exhale. Chest in the direction of the ceiling. Maybe tilting that pelvis forward a little just to counter that arch in the back. Elbows moving back, shoulders moving back. Big breaths into the open chest. Last one here. We'll take the hands a little higher. One more for the neck. They go well together. Elbows forward, shoulders down, exhaling, chin toward the chest. Relax the shoulders. Just let the arms be dead weight here. Save the arms for the planks. One more breath here. And we're going to bring that head back upright. We're just going to send the hands over the head, still clasped. Pushing the knuckles toward the wall in front, pulling the shoulder blades back. Tucking the chin into that little groove. Sending some big breaths in that newly created space there. Let's turn those hands inside out, sending the palms in the direction of the wall in front. Still pulling those shoulder blades back. Next, inhale, sending those palms toward the ceiling once again. Softening the knees, tucking the tailbone. next exhale, let's twist left. Maintain that extended form here. Rip with those toes. We're going to inhale right back to center. Big inhale and then exhale, twisting right. Relax those shoulders. I know the arms are getting a little tired here. Last big breath. And then back to center. Let's release them. Let's send the heels of the palms to that lower back. Inhaling, exhaling, chest in the direction of the ceiling again. Tucking that tailbone. Sending some space into that chest. Maybe glancing up. Last breath here. And let's gently release, relaxing the arms. Let's go a few shoulder rolls forward. Clicking, popping, grinding. Just a little smaller. Negate that space you created already. Reverse directions. And then resting here at center. We're going to transition back down to the floor. Just had a couple ideas. I was trying to figure out which one I was going to do. But I'll walk you through a down dog. But any wrist issues going on, please just go down to the mat and call it one good down dog today. It was good. Feet are about hip width. Let's grow really tall. Hands to the front of the thighs. Let's exhale, sending them down the front. Shifting those hips back. And then bending those knees, hands to the floor, walking the feet back. Hips in the direction of the ceiling. Chest towards the front of the thighs. Back of the thighs toward the wall behind. Heels toward the floor. Maybe pedal out one more time. And when you're ready, we're going to start to shift that weight forward so that we're shifting our weight onto our hands and arms. Rip with those fingers. Keep the elbows soft. Send the heels in the direction of the wall behind. Pull the crown of your head forward. You can always bring down one knee at a time here. Let's go about 3 big breaths. Elbows are soft. Don't let them lock out. And you can either bring one knee down at a time now slowly, or you could start to lower yourself gently using your arms right onto the belly. We'll just put the hands up top, rest the cheek on the mat. Relax the legs here, relax the shoulders and the chest. Give them a little break. Let's switch to the other cheek. Just a couple more big breaths here. Let's take the arms and make them long by the sides with the palms toward the ceiling. chest, lift the head, lift the feet, point the toes toward the wall behind, pull the crown of the head forward. Just look down here. Just trying to prevent that arch in the back. Feet start to cramp. Relax the feet, but last breath here. And bringing that down gently onto that awkward cheek if you had an awkward cheek. Relaxing the whole body. Last big breath. And we'll take the hands back up by the head one more time. We're going to push ourselves back up to all fours. I want you to grab your blocks, place them near the top of your mat here. You may not need them, but you'll have them just in case. Find that extension, fingers are wide, crown of head pulling against those sit bones. You can never get too many of these extensions. But we're going to take the right foot and we're going to bring it up between the hands. Might have to shimmy a bit once you start this movement. I don't want you to let that knee cross those toes at any time. So if you see that knee's going to go across, go ahead and just inch the foot a little further. Then on an exhale, we're going to send the hips down and forward. Relax that back leg. Only want to use the blocks here if you can't reach the floor today. Fingertips are even just fine. Just breathe big into this one. Relax that back leg. The weight of your body will do the work here. If you need a little bit of strength, you can tuck those back toes and you can lift that back leg or that back knee, and you can drive that left heel toward the wall behind, pulling the crown of the head forward. Still want a little more, you can take the hands up just above that knee, and you're going to balance here. Remember that strength counters gloominess. Doesn't necessarily mean it's balancing. Just one more big breath here. A couple of you have those knees up. You can go ahead and bring those down. Grab the blocks. Walk them back. Right toes in the direction of the ceiling. Find your own depth using these blocks. Leg starts to shake. Relax that foot a little, or go to a higher setting. Just a couple more big breaths here. And then we're going to slowly bring that right foot back, sending the blocks up top in case we need them. On this brand new side, go in with beginner's mind. This time we're going to shimmy that left foot between the hands. Not going to autopilot depth here, but on an exhale, going to send those hips down and forward again, peeking in on those left toes. You just want to stack joints here. Relax that back leg, relax that jaw, breathe. Those of you need a little strength, you can tuck those toes in the back, lifting that knee, sending that right heel toward the wall behind, crown of the head forward. A little more, you can take the hands to the top of that leg. Just keep that breath moving. Keep that critical self at bay. Find your shaking. Always scale back or out. Last big breath here. And if that knee is up, you can bring that knee down to the floor. Grab the blocks. Let's take them for a walk back. Left toes toward the ceiling. Just sending some big breaths here. One more. And then we'll return that left foot to meet the right. We're going to go knees together this time here. We're going to sit back in the direction of our heels. We're going to take our arms down by our sides with the palms toward the ceiling. Forehead might rest on the floor or on a block. Just try to be a little heavy there. Keep those breaths moving. Might have to after those few strengthening ones. And when you're ready, we're going to bring those hands back up toward the head. And we're going to bring ourselves back upright. We're going to see if we can sit back on our heels here. Anything coming out of those knees, just gonna take a block right underneath. Everything's a go with the knees. It's probably because you come on rainy nights dedicated to this practice. We're gonna take both hands behind, fingers wide. You might find you have a slight lift there. Just to get a little bit on the front of those ankles and the shins. Breathing big. Shoulders back. Last breath. And we're gently going to walk those hands back up, bringing those knees down. Let's go down onto our right hip. Don't autopilot here, please. Gonna do a couple. Let's go left hand right outside that left ankle. First, check in with those knees. Maybe it didn't show up on the last one, but it is here. Take that block right under that right hip to reduce that pressure. Inhaling, fingertips toward the sky. Right fingertips toward the sky. Project out of that shoulder. Exhaling, walking those fingers out. reaching for that crease between the ceiling and the wall. Keeping that side long. It wants to round and fold. Last big breath here. And we'll bring that right hand back around. We'll start to send that left foot back. That left leg is moving in the direction of straight. The left sit bone is anchored to the floor. I'm going to roll over onto the top of that back foot as much as possible. Square up over this front leg. Relax the back leg. Exhale. Walking those hands forward. Every move you make here, you might have to remind yourself to relax that back leg, relax that jaw, breathe. Might have to keep bringing that focus back. Some distractions. You find you're all the way down to forearms and you do need a little more, you can take that left arm, sweep that left hand beneath the right and send that left shoulder in the direction of the floor. Just keep that sit bone anchored, keep the body relaxed, keep the breaths going. Notice how that hip feels on this side. Notice the depth on this side. Notice whatever you're struggling with here. And if you don't feel much, that's okay. It's maintenance. Not gonna hurt you. Just a couple more big breaths here. And then we're going to slowly walk those hands back up. Carefully bringing that left leg and foot around. Bringing both feet over toward the right side this time. Tucking the feet just as close to the hips as they'll go. Check in here. Might feel a little something here or here or here connected to here. This time you would prop up that left hip. All's good. Right hand outside right foot. Inhale, extending tall. Maybe this is the boundary. If not, next exhale. Slowly walking those right fingertips out. Reaching for that crease. Careful attention to the knees, scaling back if anything shifts there. One more big breath right here. And we'll slowly walk those fingertips back, bringing that left hand down. This time we're going to send that right leg back, moving in the direction of straight, rolling onto the top of that foot, squaring up over that front knee. Notice that hip immediately if it's different. Exhaling and slowly finding that boundary here. Relaxing that back leg. Relaxing that jaw. Noticing what this posture is like today. need a little more, right hand threaded beneath that left arm, sending that right shoulder in the direction of the floor. Remind you to relax that back leg. Keep sending big breaths to wherever you feel it on this side. Inhale, assess. Exhale, relax. Not forcing the depth, but exploring the depth. Bringing that attention back. Your body knows that class is going to be over soon. Got 3 more big breaths, really focusing on relaxing on that exhale. And then walking those hands slowly back up. Carefully bringing that right leg around to protect the knee. Bringing that left foot from under to meet the right. Let's shift back. Lifting those feet again, extending the arms out long. Fingertips pulling directly out of the shoulders. How's it different this time? Body's good and warmed up. I challenged you. Maybe keep that spine straighter. Maybe straightening those legs. Don't follow my lead. Your depth today. Last big breath here. Let's bring the feet down. Let's grab onto the tops of the knees or the front of the shins. We're going to roll back. Roll back slowly. We're not going to do our final posture. I'm going to do one more side to side. So just gently bringing yourself back. We're going to roll over onto our left side. So roll right onto that left side. Extend the legs out long. We're going to take the right arm and we're going to giant circle and we're going to reach for the top of that right foot. Notice it's the same posture that we did balancing. Just want you to get enough stretch on it. If all's a go, you could start to send that right knee back. Maybe sending that left foot forward just a little to counter. Opening up that right shoulder. Breathing big. Mindful of the back here. Last big breath here. We'll scoot that foot back if you kickstanded it. That's a great word. Dropping that knee, bringing that right foot down. And we're going to roll onto our back briefly before going to the other side. sometimes I just want to keep going with like 2 or 3 more just because they fit there, but not going to do it. We're going to bring our knees up to our hands. And let's go a few circles in one direction. Noticing how the lower back connects with the floor. Try to let the strength of your arms do the work here. Legs dead weight. Let's circle the other direction. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet down to the mat. We're going to roll onto that right side. Might use that right arm to support as a pillow. This time, big circle with that left hand, bending the left knee, reaching for the top of the foot. Checking in right there. Maybe inching that right foot forward to send that knee back a bit. Why not open up that shoulder while you're there? So sending that shoulder back. Checking in with that lower back. Last breath right here. And then if that foot's out, we're going to bring it back. Releasing that left foot. Bringing it back to meet the right. Let's roll onto our backs one more time. Knees up to the hands. Gentle rock side to side. Let's bring the soles of the feet down to the mat. Let's make our way to our final posture. Walking the feet out long. Relaxing the legs, allowing the feet to fall to the sides. Arms may be at the sides with the palms up, or they may be on the belly. Just a couple more of those bigger breaths. Giving that back a little time to settle. And become just as heavy as you can here. Just gonna repeat that same practice we started with, checking in, body, all newly created space. Checking in with that head space. Maybe the strengthening work boosted a mood or two. And then checking in with what that breath is like now. eventually gonna bring some of that intentionally softer movement back. It's at your pace. Maybe starting fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. You're rocking the head side to side, or the knees, but just softer. More peaceful for the night. And then taking those last couple minutes just for any postures that your body needs. And eventually supporting up